Hi, I'm March from StrataGames, and today we have early access to the new Spiderman / Through the Omenpaths cards, which means we're going to be trying some of those out. So I have one of my buddies, Jin, going to be playing against me. He's not going to be using any new cards, just using some meta decks that have been around, but we are trying out some new cards on our side. So the first one we're looking at is this Lurking Lizards. It's a 1/3 with trample for 1 and a green, and whenever you cast a spell with mana value 4 or greater, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. So of course, the first thing that comes to mind is playing Affinity, because we have all these cards that are very expensive, but we actually get to play for very cheap. And so we're doing this Sultai Affinity. It's basically Dimir or Grixis, whatever, but we're splashing green for just the lizards and a little bit of sideboard cards. But of course, there's another artifact creature that cares about having spells with 4 mana value or greater, Ethereum Spinner. So of course, we're going to be showing that off as well. And our cards that are 4 mana value or greater are Mirror Enforcer, of course, Refurbished Familiar. We're playing Frogmite. This has fallen out of favor a little bit in Affinity because it just doesn't give as much value, but in a deck like this that just wants as many 4-drops as possible, it fits perfectly. Then, of course, we have Thought Casts. We're playing a couple Metallic Rebuke, as well as some Cast Down for our interaction packages. And then we have some card draw, Fanatical Offering, and Reckoner's Bargain. Obviously, since we fit in a lot more creatures than some other versions with 20 right here, we have a little bit less card draw than some versions, but I think it'll be okay. We're a little bit more of an aggro deck, aggro or tempo kind of a thing with the lizards. We still have a couple Wellsprings and 3 Blood Fountains, because these can rebuy any of our various creatures and also can turbo out all of our affinity creatures. And then we have a pretty standard bunch of artifact land mana base with a 1-of Swamp. Sideboard, we have 3 Nile Spellbombs, 3 Duress, 4 Blue Elemental Blast. Our artifact removal of choice is Troublemaker Oof, since we have so many artifacts and tokens that we'll be able to sacrifice, and then a couple Arms of Hadar. We're just going to play one match with this deck, and then I have 2 other decks with interesting new cards that I wanted to try out as well. So let's jump into match 1. I have 3 very quick announcements. First, my Black Sack guide has been $10 since I launched it. I've looked around, a lot of people are charging more for their guides. I'm going to be increasing that price to $15 at the end of September. If you have not bought it yet, you can still get it for $10. After that, it's going to be $15 from then on, but you still get it in perpetuity. Every update I make, you will get without having to pay any additional cost. 2, I've been unemployed for the last couple of months. Not my favorite thing to admit. I've spent all of my additional time throwing that into the channel. So if you've appreciated more videos from me, going from 2 League videos a week to 3 every Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday, I started streaming. I started uploading all of those streams to YouTube. I've also made some excess videos in addition to that, like the Black Sack Introduction and Mulligan Guide. And I've been releasing anywhere from 4 to 7 short videos on the channel, including comedy videos, informational videos, spoiler videos, new downshift videos. If you like any of my content, I could really use some support. Otherwise, I'm going to unfortunately have to get a real job, and the content will slow on the channel. I might have to go back to just a couple of League videos a week. So any support you could offer, I would really appreciate. And that takes me to my third point, which is I'm moving my Patreon over to my Metafy for various reasons. You can read that on either of those platforms. But if you want to support me on a monthly or one-time basis, go ahead and check out my Metafy. I also offer coaching, deck brewing sessions, and deck donations. So any Magic-related thing you want to see me do, you can probably pay money to make me do it. Otherwise, I'm going to try to continue putting out as much content as possible because it's what I really like to do. Thank you for listening to my spiel, and we'll get into the games right now. All right, here we are with our Sultai Affinity list, and I know we're against Red Rally, which is going to be fun. This hand is okay. We don't have our green mana or the Lurking Lizards, but it just seems decent. He accidentally passed through his turn, but it's it probably won't be that big of a deal. We just start up a card. Don't read too much into it. So we do get our green source, which is nice. There's a Clockwork Percussionist. So the hard thing with this deck, I'm thinking, is how quickly do I want to deploy my guys? Because I can start getting these guys out next turn, or at least one of them, which I think we want to. But of course, we have our guys that pay off for having these. So I think I'll play a Refurb. It doesn't block as well as the Frogmite, but the Frogmite can actually be free. It doesn't actually require black mana, things like that, I think we'll play one of these. Hopefully we'll draw like an Ethereum Spinner or whatever next turn, or a Lizards. Ginger Brute in this version, looking nice. And Goblin Tomb Raider, and another Goblin Tomb Raider. All right, well, always good that we got down the Refurbs then, or just the one Refurb, I suppose. Block, we're taking 3, and a Blood Fountain. I mean, Blood Fountain just lets us get down Frogmite, and then Mirror Enforcer. I think we just got to play out some blockers. Enforcer's 1 mana, so I can also Thought Cast. Let's do that first in case we get like something else to play for 1. Ooh. So I can double Mirror Enforcer. This is the unfortunate part, is it's probably better to just play both Enforcers here, as opposed to waiting for the Lizards, because then I could just be attacking them for 8, or blocking if they go with like a Bushwhacker. But I think we're here for the Lizards, right? Let's intentionally play worse to show off how good this card could be, right? That's what we're here for. There's a Burning Tree. There's a Bushwhacker. Yep, pretty good. So we'll trade Frogmite in order to survive. We do have a couple Reckoner's Bargains in the deck to gain some life, but we're down to 9 here. But we do get to just flood the board. So here's Lizards, Mist Vault, Mirror Enforcer, trigger the lizards, and Mirror Enforcer, trigger again. Look at that. Now we have a 2-mana 3/5. That's kind of cool. So next turn we can cast down and start attacking, potentially. There's a Ren's Resolve turning up Gingerbrute and a Mountain. I mean, Mountain's not great. Gingerbrute can get in, though. So I guess maybe I cast that down. Swing for 1. Take it. Oh, we also have Blood Fountain. Oh, okay. So I can Blood Fountain back our 2 guys, which is pretty cool, because then we can take away Jin's last card. We can grow our lizards twice more. Oh, there's another Ren's Resolve. That's pretty good. And I think we attack with everything. We have 2 more blockers. This is 13 damage coming in. Probably chump one of the Enforcers with the Percussionist. Oh, don't chump that one. That's got Trample. So that's 12 at him. This is a brand new card. I probably just did not realize it had Trample, as we've all done before. Turns up a Mountain with the Percussionist and finds another Percussionist. Doesn't attack, probably for the best. If we get a Thought Cast, that's a crazy good draw. Triggers this, draws 2 more cards. Wellspring, just seeing if we can pump this up anymore pre-combat. Ethereum Spinner, well, that's not going to pump it, but we can just attack with everything. He's going to have to chump here. Sack the Gingerbrute to go up to 11. Maybe take the rest. All right, decides on 3 chumps. Sacks the Gingerbrute, so gonna survive at 3 here. Percussionist finds a Mountain. If Percussionist found something good and then he turned up another good card like Rally Bushwhacker, there was a chance here, because I did attack with probably more creatures than I should have, but gotta keep it interesting. Now we get the Spinner down. Synth is not the worst draw. Turns up a Percussionist. That's not quite gonna do it. You could sack the Synth, play a Mountain off the top that he already has, maybe get another Mountain. Yeah, super flooded, unfortunately. And we get there game 1. So we get Blue Blasts and Arms of Hadar. Take out Metallic Rebuke's probably not super important. Cast downs the same, and maybe like a Wellspring. Blood Fountains we're not often going to use much, like cracking them, although we did that game. But just being able to power turbo out like the Mirror Enforcers can be pretty good. He did make that one block with the Trampler, which obviously wasn't great. He took 4 extra damage, but then drew like 7 lands total. So the block didn't end up mattering ultimately, I don't believe. All right, this hand looks pretty solid. Blue Blast, we have the Lizards on turn 2, which is nice. I can go Mistvault into Tree of Tails, play Lizards, turn 3, play Bridge, Familiar Frogmite, and hold up Blue Blast? No, because the blue's in the same one, so not quite. We do have to be wary of removal spells for our lands, and for that reason maybe I shouldn't play the Black Bridge first, because it's susceptible to a Cast of the Fire, but I think that's okay. What's the use of it if we're not gonna play it, you know? Another Percussionist. It's also possible I should not play the Lizards right away because it just dies to a Bolt, and I'd like to get a trigger off of it first, especially with him holding up a mana here. So I could just play Wellspring, which still adds to affinity for these, although without an untapped land here, Lizards isn't coming down with an immediate trigger anyway. Oh, that's not true. I can Lizards and then Frogmite off of tapped land. Spinner could be pretty good too, although I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get both of these down first before we start playing some of these guys. Reckless Impulse turns up Rally and a Lightning Bolt. Swing for 2. So I could play Lizards and then Frogmite, but the Bolt can just kill the Lizards. Plus I kind of want to hold up Blue Blast for the Rally. So I think we just pass with a Blue Blast up. I could play a Frogmite. We don't get these triggers then. Yeah, I think we're going to pass. Get a little greedy as a treat. Bolt on the end step. There's the Rally, which we're going to try to counter, and that works. There's a Tomb Raider. Okay, so still taking 4. I mean, not putting down the Frogmite could have been a mistake. It would probably just have died to the Bolt, so we'd be 3 life more, but we are at 8, so definitely dying a little bit. Spinner into Frogmite gives us 3 creatures, or I could just Lizards, Refurb, Frogmite also gives us 3 creatures. Ooh, or I think this might be best. We're going to Lizards, Frogmite, hold up Blue Blast. We have 2 creatures that can block nicely. Plus we have a Blue Blast to get us out of whatever. And the next turn I can Spinner and Refurb, which seems decent. We're definitely going to counter a Bushwhacker here. And I would say attacks are bad, but a Bolt could finish this guy off, which could be decent, or just maybe getting in for the 1, plus getting the Percussionist off. Could be worth it. There's a Mountain. Play that. We get a Bolt and like Fire Blast? Is this version playing Fire Blast? Oh, that's crazy. That's not fair. It's absolutely fair, but it's annoying. Wasn't expecting that. Do we want anything different? We maybe should have just not been greedy, gotten that Frogmite down earlier. Fine, I just wanted all the value. Wanted to show off our lizards, didn't want them to die right away. But we're on the play again, so, well, we need some payoffs, but, I mean, these guys are kind of just payoffs for themselves, you know? They're just pretty good already, and then if we draw, like, a lizards or something, it's going to be really good. Alright, play a Dark Moss Bridge and pass. There's an Epicure. Arms of Adar is pretty good. Let's just do a familiar here. Again, it blocks worse, but it costs more. Like, Frogmite would have also cost 2 here, but Frogmite can cost 0, whereas Refurb always costs at least 1. So we only overpaid on the Refurb by 1, whereas Frogmite we would overpay by 2. There's a Percussionist, and looks like he might be stuck on 1 land. We're not going to block when we have an Arms of Adar and want to use this Affinity. Well, stuck on 1 land, we have these Refurbs to make sure he doesn't just stock up on spells. It's pretty good. Percussionist down, and we have a Frogmite, and I'll swing for 1. I mean, stuck on 1 land and we have an Arms of Adar in hand is definitely looking rough for him. Not that their deck can't come back from an Arms of Adar, because it certainly can sometimes. Discard a Burning Tree, finds the mountain. Then there's a Tomb Raider, okay. No attacks at all. Does feel like the Tomb Raider should have gotten in, which he thought about, but, well, I think now we just Arms of Adar, and then we get in. This is pretty brutal. We get in for 6. We have a 3-turn clock. He does get something off the Clockwork Percussionist. It's a Bushwhacker. I mean, if he has like another Burning Tree into a Bushwhacker, that's not bad. Just cast the Bushwhacker, attack for 2, and pass. We get a Thought Cast, pretty good draw. We have a Blue Blast, Blood Fountain, Frogmite. Might as well play all of it. Swing for 6. Bolt on the Frogmite. To be honest, I think this might be worth countering just because we get in for 6, and then even if he has 1 removal spell for 1 of these, or like a blocker for 1, it still gets in for lethal. This would only really be super bad if like he has a Cast into the Fire to get rid of both of these familiars, but we're still attacking for 4, plus we can Blood Fountain them both back. That's still not going to be that devastating, unfortunately. Voldaren Epicure. Pings for 1, Blood Token discards a Bushwhacker, and bolt down a Refurb. We draw a Dark Moss Bridge, just attack for 6, double block a Frogmite, takes 4. I think that's reasonable, although it allows me to just buy back our 2 creatures, replay them both right away for some value. And pass. Unless he's got like a breath weapon, this is looking to be death. There's a Ren's Resolve into Tomb Raider and a Rally at the Hornburg. And we get there. For match 2, we are playing Rakdos Madness. This is more or less the Rakdos Madness deck that you know and love. Grab the Prize and Highway Robbery, Vampire's Kiss and Faithless Looting, which all allow us to discard our Alms of the Vein, our Kitchen Imps, our Fiery Tempers, and our Sneaky Snackers for lots of cheap effects, lots of burn and things like that. We have Lightning Bolts and Voldaren Epicures, but we're playing 2 Wekdu, which is the new Kitchen Imp type card. It's a 2/2 flyer, and Madnesses, or rather Mayhems, for 1 mana, just like a Kitchen Imp. Mayhem says you may cast this card from your graveyard for its cost if you discarded this turn. So it doesn't immediately Madness, but otherwise it's basically the same. When you discard it in that turn, you'll be able to cast it for its effect at some point later. So you don't have to do it right away, but you can do it later. It's going to play out very similarly. So we play 2 of these, and then we're also trying out a couple Sadistic String Pullers. This is just a 4/3, but it can be for 2 mana. It does feel like it's missing some sort of keyword, menace, or haste, or something like that. But 2 mana 4/3 seems decent, so we're trying it out anyway, since we're trying out new cards. Sideboard, pretty standard. We have some Spell Bombs, Red Blasts, Duress, Cast Into the Fire, Extract a Confession, and 2 Fairy Macabres. We have 1 more deck after this, so let's jump into this match and see how we do. I was muted for the introduction. Luckily, we didn't get too far. I have a pretty solid opening hand. Jagged Barons them to 1. Jin plays a Mental Note and mills a Delver and a Spell Pierce. We get a very good draw with this Epicure. Of course, we have the turn 3 Faithless Looting with Alms and Fiery Temper, which is really strong. Looks like we could get hit by a counter spell, though. Grab the Prize is pretty good, too. We're obviously not going to run that into a counter spell. Not at the moment, anyway. So we get to swing for 1, and hopefully we can see some of those new cards. Oop, we're not going to Fiery Temper. We're going to Faithless Looting. Kick things off with that, and we draw 2 non-Madness cards, so we're definitely going to just play the Madness cards we have, deal them 3, and then Alms of the Vein. They could counter this one. Spell Pierce, yep, I like that. And then a Thought Scour, so that puts them to 5 spells engrave. So we could see a Terror or Serpent right away here. Yep, there's the Terror. And Vampire's Kiss. So there could be another Spell Pierce. I don't really have anything I want to grab the Prize with at the moment. Spell Pierce could be a pain. So I think we just Vampire's Kiss for 2 life. Then Carnarium back at Jagged Barons, which is a tap land, but it's an extra damage. Don't know which one's better, but Damage always seems good to me. I will say this is a matchup where the Sadistic Spider Weaver, or whatever it's called, is probably worse just because 4/3 is not very good against them. Extra copies of Kitchen Imp can be fine though. Swing with the Terror. We're going to take it. Cryptic Serpent. And hold up Counterspell. More Vampire's Kisses. I think I want to just start with a Faithless Looting. I could just double Vampire's Kiss, which is pretty decent. Sure, maybe we'll just do that, and then next turn I can Faithless Looting or grab the prize. This way they don't have, you know, if they want to counter one of these, it's not a big deal. But down to 6. We'll pass. We also have 1,000,000 blood tokens. Ponder. I guess there's a new Ponder art, which the art is cool. It looks a little blurry or something, but that's okay. And he shuffled Delver's Secret's coming down, which is relevant. That's just a blocker, so it allows him to attack with both of these. I probably just want to block, to be honest, because if I take it and then I don't kill him this turn and then he sleeps this or bounces it, I could just die. Well, I think you start with a Faithless Looting here. We get a Bolt, but what? I discard 2 mountains. If I grab the prize, that gets counterspelled, and I don't quite die, I suppose. Not great by any means. I don't think the grab the prize is doing me any favors here. Anything I get, I can use on their turn. So I think we just pass here. Blood tokens to just cycle through until we get some Madness cards. Cycle a Lorien at the end step. Delver flips off a Counterspell. Well, that's bad. I guess I could have had a stop there and responded. Well, I don't think I'm interacting with these guys. This is 14 damage, so not quite lethal. There's a Deep Analysis. I guess we'll get rid of the grab the prize now. Mountain. Get rid of that. Alms the Vein. So we'll discard that. And it could get a counterspell, but then we have our turn to find another and they'd be tapped out. There's the counterspell. So I just need to find another Bolt, Fiery Temper or anything. Kitchen Imp is not quite enough. So, but I'll still discard it because if we find another one, then I guess it could be good. Although it could also just waste a mana for me looking for like a Bolt or something. Discard Snacker. That'll come back. So this is my last mana. I have to find a Bolt or something, and I didn't. Bolt. I could block here. Yeah, I think I die. Vampire's Kiss. Brutal. I mean, that was crazy close. But put him to 1, and he's gonna definitely just kill me. I had a very good start, but then petered out a little bit. That's okay. We do get Red Blasts, Duress, and Spellbomb. That feels like a lot. Extract, I don't think we need for this either. Probably just Red Blasts. We didn't see any of these cards. What are we gonna cut? Bolt, Vampire's Kiss, Flyers seem decent. Couple of random cards. All right, game 2 here, and we do get the String Puller. This hand doesn't necessarily look amazing, but we can get this on turn 3. I guess that's probably why people aren't excited about it. Faithless Looting, we get a 4/3 on turn 3. But I don't know, it seems okay. Probably just plot the Robbery on 2, so we can actually use that for the Puller. Also, we dodge Spell Pierce here. Let's do that. Mental Note hits 2 islands. That's good for us. Island and pass. Kitchen Imp. So, oh, I guess I don't even have double red for the Faithless, for the String Puller, so it's got to be Robbery. If that gets countered, I guess I then Faithless Looting. Well, let's cast the Robbery. There's a Hydroblast. So, I guess we'll Faithless Looting. This way I get got by a Spell Pierce, but I was trying to keep the Carnarium so I could play that this turn. So we will discard a Kitchen Imp, play that, swing for 2, and Carnarium back the Swamp. Brainstorm. Yeah, 2 mana does feel like just a lot to get the Madness going. And maybe if this guy had haste, it would be worth it. No haste is kind of tough. So Brainstorm there. Didn't see a Mental Note in the upkeep. Ponder now, though. And pass. We get to grab the prize. Swing for 2. So I could grab the prize on the String Puller. And then even if this gets countered, I can just cast this. Seems okay. Obviously, that would be the same as Madness. Mayhem does not change it much. There's a Blue Blast. I could also Red Elemental Blast this, but then we lose this guy, which might just be worth it. But let's just try to get him on the field. If he only gets down like 1 Terror, then Red Blast can clear it. Maybe the 4/3 is decent. He could just have, yeah, Hydroblast. All right, fair enough. Getting 3 of the blasts is pretty nice. Although he might have as many as 7 or 8 in the sideboard. I don't really know. Psycholorian. There's a Terror. Another grab the prize. So I could Red Blast this. There's probably another Counterspell lurking. Swing for 2. Vampire's Kiss, and maybe we Red Blast this in the upkeep. Oh, Counterspell there. Okay. In that case, we can just take out the Terror, which I could have obviously just saved our Vampire's Kiss, but I'd rather kill the Terror here. Brainstorm. There's a Serpent. 1 card left in hand. We get a land. Well, I think I Faithless Looting, because if I grab the prize here and this gets countered, then I just have nothing in hand. So Faithless Looting, grab, and a bolt. I guess I'll keep both grab the prizes, but I'm not going to cast one this turn. I'll try to cast it next turn, I suppose. Attack for 6, and Lorien revealed. Well, mostly tapped out, but Lorien's pretty scary. Highway robbery. Well, we're just going grab the prize on the robbery. Deal 2. Okay. And I guess just blast the serpent so that we don't die. He could have had a dispel. Since grab the prize resolved, there's probably not a Hydra or anything, but dispel was the only thing I could see there. Another brainstorm and thought scour in the upkeep. Sleep of the dead on the kitchen imp. Nice. Ponder. Another serpent. And a terror. Okay. Sleep of the Dead has a million cards to use. Vampire's Kiss. But if we could just find enough damage. This is 7, but this doesn't get used without this. I think we just start with... I think we grab the prize with the Bolt. Since Vampire's Kiss can have some other utility, Epicure is pretty decent. So Vampire's Kiss, Epicure down to 3, and then Carnarium picks up a Swamp, so we have some more cards to discard next turn. Plus we have a Chump Blocker, although Sleep of the Dead pretty much removes that. Like, he could just double sleep, but if he gets a counterspell, he's going to want to use that instead, since any bolt kills him here. Yeah, Brainstorm. Attacks with both. If I block, I take 5. I'm at 11, so I'm dead either to both of these again, either way. He's going to probably sleep the Kitchen Imp, so I think I'd rather keep the Epicure up in case I get like another Vampire's Kiss or grab the prize, something that deals just 2 damage. Seeing as blocking doesn't really change much. And not blocking, I mean, he can also double sleep these next turns, so that doesn't change much either. There's the sleep. Fiery Temper is the perfect draw, so I'm expecting this to get countered, but we can hopefully draw into another bolt. All right, that just got there. So onto the last game. I don't think we need to change anything. I guess I could throw in some spell bombs or dresses on the draw, but I kind of think we're in a decent spot. All right, this hand has no payoff cards, no madness cards, or mayhem. We've only seen one mayhem card the entire match, but it just feels like it's a lot of utility, decent mana, and good card draw, so I don't think I'm gonna ship this one. Play a Barrens, cycle a Lorien, holds up Counterspell, and I'm gonna just plot this robbery. Brainstorm into a mental note, milling Lorien and Sleep of the Dead, pretty nice. Already 5 spells in the yard. Ponder and Shuffle, Terror, and pass. Well, only 1 mana, so it could be a red blast, but let's do a highway robbery. We'll discard a Faithless Looting. Not the best thing ever here. Bojuka Bog is really nice, though. I guess we'll go for the grab the prize Fiery Temper. Oh, wait, no. Then I didn't play the Bojuka Bog. Oh, no, I messed up. I should have just Vampire's Kissed and then Bojuka Bogged. Oops. Well, we're going to do this, and probably got by a Spell Piercer or a Hydroblast. I mean, maybe there's no more terrors, but yes, I should have played the Bog this turn. All right, yep, that gets countered. We just have a Fiery Temper for 3 damage. I mean, if there are no more terrors this turn, then it's probably going to be beneficial that we wait. But if there's even a single terror, it's definitely bad. Either way, we're taking 5 already, which is not a great spot to be. There are no more terrors, which is nice. Well, I think we're just doing Vampire's Kiss, hold up a Bolt, and Bojuka Bog. Counterspell, we played that first so that we could get the Counterspell from the grave as well. But we could just die to this terror, so I'm not super loving our spot. Thought Scour, a Cryptic Serpent, and a Lorien revealed. We take 5 here. And another Serpent. It's 5 mana, but that's still just gonna kill us. Fiery Temper's decent. It does let us take out the Serpent. See, I might want double red, so I should probably just play this mountain first. So Faithless Looting, in case I get another Fiery Temper. There's Wekdu, finally. Fiery Temper, so I could take this out with this and Bolt, which I think is probably necessary. I could go 6 at them and then Chump Block, but then I have to find 10 next turn, which is just still unlikely. So Bolt down the Serpent, cast Wekdu with Flash Speed, look at that, and pass. So we're not fully dead if we can just find like a Red Blast, take out the Terror, and he can't put any other Terrors on the board. There's a Brainstorm. And there's a Murmuring Mystic. Oh my gosh, that's bad. Attack for 5. I think I'm taking it. Sneaky Snacker. I mean, in a vacuum, pretty good with the grab the prize. No Hydroblast, please. Oh, Envelop? Oh my gosh. Wrecked by Envelop. That's so rude. Well, I'm gonna flashback Faithless Looting to get our Snacker, I suppose. Play the Carnarium first. I'll pick up the Bog. I might end up discarding it, but on the off chance that I don't, I'll have it for later. Yeah, I can't play the Kitchen Imp, so we'll just discard these 2. Envelop wrecked me. It's not a bad one to bring in by any means. If it's in the sideboard, it counters all of our draw twos, which are pretty important. Brainstorm off the top of the Mystic is crazy good. And Found the Sleep of the Dead. Tap that down, attack for lethal. Well, I never stabilize, unfortunately, and we die. Finally, we have White Weenie. This is the card that I think might have the biggest impact on the format of the Spider-Man cards, which is Darval, whose Web protects. It's a 3/3 for 3, but you can end Web, which is returning a tapped creature you control to its owner's hand, and you can pay this cheaper cost for this creature. So we can play an Inspector on turn 1, attack with it turn 2, bring it back to hand with Darval, get a 3/3 on turn 2, and then also replay our Inspector for another clue. That's ideally how it's going to play out. There were no other white cards that I really felt would be good in this deck, so otherwise it's a pretty standard White Weenie deck with a whole lot of creatures, a little bit of removal, and a bunch of pump spells. So let's jump into the last match and see how we do. All right, we are on the play here, and we have 5 lands. Classic White Weenie. Informant, Thraben Charm. I mean, I think this is too many lands. We're prone to get flooded, although I did cut a land from the deck. Now we have only 1, so it's possible I should have just kept it, because also Rafine's Informant gets rid of 1. But that's okay. Let's go down to 5. This hand's pretty decent. So I think we're just putting back a Plains and a Thraben and just going for the curve of Inspector, Rafine's Informant, Skyfisher. And we're going to be up against Jund Wildfire here, which, you know, I think is a pretty decently balanced. We do get Dust to Dust from the sideboard second in game 2, but, you know, that doesn't just win the game like it does against Affinity, but it is very good. Another Inspector. Attack for 1. I almost don't want to discard any of these things to Informant, but it is more aggressive. Yeah, I guess we want to be more aggressive, so let's just play it. Part of me wanted to play Skyfisher, bounce the Thraben, but we actually only have 2 damage instead of 4 there, and we will get rid of the Inspector. Plains allows us to play Skyfisher, Inspector next turn, and then we have 2 clues. We can crack those, and again, pretty decent aggressive start, especially on a Mold of 5. Cracks the Landscape for a swamp. No Cleansing Wildfire on turn 2 is pretty nice for us as well. There's a Wellspring. Remosian Rally is not bad. Just some extra damage. Get in for 4. Like, I think this might be the best start. One of the better starts in general. So having it on the 5-card hand gives us a real chance. We have 6 damage next turn. If we find a random creature, we could even have 9 with the Rally. If we find a Guardian's Pledge, we could have even more. Our Krark Clan Shaman could be annoying, but to be honest, if he had Krark and 2 artifacts to sacrifice, but no Death Touch, then I could, like, Remosian Rally to keep our guys alive. Should be pretty good. Cast down the Skyfisher. Fair enough. Skyfisher deals less damage than the Informant, but Informant gets blocked easier and also dies to a Krark, so I'm sure that's why. Attack for 4, crack a clue, and just play an Inspector. Strands is not the best in this match because there's black creatures, there's colorless creatures, there's red creatures, but it is decent against a Krark. Speaking of, there it is. Hoping for no Death Touch, since we don't actually have Strands this turn. No, there's the Death Touch. Brutal. Rally's not going to keep our guys alive then, unfortunately. And smart to just do this right now while we're tapped out, because otherwise we could have the Prismatic Strands up. So that's pretty bad for us. We lost all of our aggression, and he's got a Gixian Infiltrator. That's pretty rough. Inspector. I'm going to play the Inspector, and then I don't have anything to play or do except for crack a clue, so I might as well crack the clue first in case I get something else I want to play, which I don't. Battle Screech can be pretty good. We need to hit a land drop, and we need to survive against this Infiltrator. But if he just attacks in, I could block. He cracks a clue to grow it, and then I could rally to trade them. It's not the best thing ever, and it loses to like a Fanatical Offering or something. Bajuka Bog, luckily, is not relevant yet. We have all our flashback cards in hand. Crack the clue token. Cleansing Wildfire. I mean, he did tap out, so that I think some of these things should have happened second main phase, because now that he's tapped out, not that he's expecting a Remosian Rally probably, but I could go for this trade. I kind of want to keep it because of the Battle Screech, but eating that Infiltrator or trading for it is enticing. I think we got a knot though, unfortunately. Since I lost my board, I really need to get it back. Guardian's Pledge, we really needed a land there. I could crack a clue, or I could just hold up Prismatic Strands to prevent this damage. Probably better to just do that. So we'll attack for 1. Attack right away. I was hoping he'd go a little bit more all in on it so I can prevent more damage, but we're just gonna save the life while we can. Here comes Chris. And of course now Chris, with the spawn, grows the Infiltrator. Spell Bomb for the Prismatic Strands too. Brutal. A Landscape. We get our Plains. So, I mean, we're certainly just Battle Screeching, flashing back. We have the ability to give +3/+3 to the whole team next turn, which could get in for a lot. Sack the landscape at the end step and the spell bomb. So he attacks with both of these. Okay, so I could have 16 damage in the air if I keep all of these alive. Now this is 9, could be 11 from the spawn. He'd have to have 6 more ways to sack things. So I think that's unlikely. So I think we just take the damage. I'm worried there's probably another Chrysalis. Otherwise, I don't think this one would attack, which would make it so that our attack is not going to be lethal, but we have to play to our outs. Okay. He's got nothing, but there could just be cast downs and things. Summon Chocomog. Okay. Well, that's not lethal. Like, I could go for the lethal attack here with these, but I'm confident there's at least one spell that gains life or cast something down. So instead, I'll do this, which gives us an extra blocker. So I can block. I still get in for 8. And then next turn, I can get in for a bunch. I think that's the goal. Cast down right now on this guy. Okay. Still gonna pump. I mean, I've already gone away from the lethal attack, because if I do this and I Remotion Rally, it's gonna be 12. If I do this, I guess I die to one more removal spell. If I just attack like this, I get in for 6. They're at 8. That's still a lot with both of these. Yeah, I think we'll swing with these. Try not to die to one removal spell, try to die to 2, and then pass. Sack the spawn for a wildfire. There's a Krark, which could kill the Inspector, so if there's also a cast down, that could kill the bird token. Floating 2 mana, sack to the Krark, an artifact, sack another, and then he's going to sack this. My rally can keep alive my Inspector, though, if that's how I want to spend it. Which it might be, because then if I don't, I have to block here. Oh, didn't use that for anything. It just was floating the black. Fair enough. So I could keep my Inspector alive by tapping the bird, and then I can block. But if I let it go, this dies, then I have to chump with the bird, and then if they leave the Chrysalis back, I can't get in for lethal. So yeah, we're going to tap this and rally to keep our Inspector alive. I mean, this does tap us out of a blocker, so if they then have just a cast down for this, I'm going to die. But that would be the same if I let that go as well. Another Krark? Oh my gosh, to finish the job? No. A second Krark has hit the battlefield. Aw, that's disappointing. And a Crypt Incursion to gain 6 life. Okay, well, we're dead. So if I hadn't used that, I could have blocked with the bird, but he would have gone up to 14. Probably wouldn't have attacked with this. Then I wasn't getting in either way. I don't know what I would have drawn. Yeah, it was close, but not quite. Destroy Evil and Journey both seem good, as do Dust to Dust. Oh, we have 4 Dust to Dust in this one. 4 almost feels like too much in this matchup. I've done 4 before, and then I get flooded with them. 3 still seems good, though. Thraben Charm is good. Destroy Evil's good. Yeah. Lunarch Veteran is life gain's irrelevant here. Prismatic Strands is not irrelevant because there's Krark and there's going to be probably breath weapons, but still 4 seems like a lot. We didn't see Darval at all, of course. We never will. Guess like Formant because we're cutting some strands. I don't know if that's good rationality, but need something else to cut. I guess it probably shouldn't be a creature. Maybe like a Thraben Charm. Charm is great, but it is reliant to be removal against non-enchantment creatures. It is reliant on us having creatures, which might not be the case, whereas Destroy Evil can just blow up anything that's big, which is anything scary. Plus, we do actually have a lot of removal for this matchup. All right, we're on the play. This hand is really awkward because we don't actually have anything to bounce with the Skyfisher or the Darval, which we actually have, but I guess we'll keep it. I mean, I can turn 2 a Skyfisher, bounce a Plains, turn 3 a Darval, bounce the Skyfisher, but this guy's definitely where you want best on turn 1, or 2 rather, after like an Inspector. I did cut a bunch of our 1-drops, to be fair, for some of these other cards, but you know. Oh, also Skyfisher sets us back from Dust to Dust. Okay, well, we got Informant, so we're bailed out from that choice a little bit. Trying to find a land here. We do. I think we'll bin this Battle Screech then. Actually, Battle Screech follows up pretty nicely to a Dust to Dust. Let's just get rid of the Thraben Charm. I mean, if he plays another artifact land, then, or even like a Wellspring, we could just take them both, and that's pretty good. Vault of Whispers, I mean, Gixine Infiltrator. All right, well, sorry, buddy. We do have to do the old Dust to Dust. Actually, I guess I can attack first, because I don't think he's going to trade. And if I blow up his stuff, then he probably will to set us, to slow us down, but this is what happens when you play Jund Wildfire. I would never play Jund Wildfire because I don't want this to happen to me. Twisted Landscape can grow the Infiltrator. Attack, and probably should have just sacked the Landscape because he's probably going to do it anyway. Another Darval. Not looking great in 2s or with this Informant, I will admit, just because it swaps the informant for a slightly stronger creature, and we get the trigger again, but like, what does all that really matter? But I actually can pitch one of these with an informant, so sure, we'll do this. Actually, I'm probably going to pick this up with the Dartfall, so I probably should have just done that first so they don't know that I have 2 informants, but that's okay. Journey to Nowhere is good. Yeah, get rid of one of them, and we're going to Web Sling, and we're going to end Web with the Dartfall. Look at that. 1 mana to do very little in this situation. I think it's good to be good with the Inspectors, but here it didn't do too much. All right, you got a Swamp Infiltrator growing, but we have a Journey to Nowhere for it. It's got another Gixian Infiltrator. Well, that can block the Informant and trade. Well, we're just going to attack. I could Journey to Nowhere, but I'm kind of fine with a double trade here, and then we get to Skyfisher, bounce a Plains, play an Informant. Yep, goes for the trades. Pick up our Plains here, replay it, Informant, and Guardian's Pledge. These are all so good. I think I'm going to get rid of the Battle Screech, because I can play it for free, potentially. Plus, just like removal, plus pump spells on these 2 guys is probably going to be lethal. Blood Fountain and a Bridge. So no Journey even needed this turn, which means I get the Saga down for some extra damage. Hidden for 7, down to 7. And then 3 creatures, at least 3 power. Guardian's Pledge puts them to 5, or we just remove whatever they play. But if it is a Chrysalis, they could block most everything. There's Chris. Get a Prismatic Strands. Believe we just Journey to Nowhere the Chrysalis. Attack. We get 2 blocks, plus we get to hit for 3. Sack one of the spawn to use the blood token. Get rid of a Toxin Analysis. Down to 4. He's got a Wellspring, which means no Chris, which means Krark plus Cast Down is needed. Something like that. Breath Weapon gets the Informant, but doesn't get these 2. So we do get there. And let's resubmit. All right, game 3, and we have just a 1-lander. We got to get rid of that. A lot of really good 2 mana spells. Fortunately, not gonna work. Well, this is our 3rd 1-lander in a row. We got to keep one eventually, and we do at least have 2 cards we can play. Battle Screech is too expensive. Actually, it is expensive, but we have the Informant, so maybe my game plan is just Inspector, Informant, Battle Screech, and we get rid of these 2. I think that might be the play. We need another land, of course, but it's always going to be the case with a 1-lander. And another Informant. I mean, our first game was a 5-card hand as well. Not a 1-lander, but 5 cards. And it was close. We were definitely behind. Those 2 cards hurt. Ideally, we'll get a land here, and it won't be that big of a deal. Journey to Nowhere. Well, we still have a play, and then if we're able to hit a land next turn, we can Informant and Battle Screech. That does severely die to a Breath Weapon. Just we lose our whole board, but what are you going to do? Refurb. I mean, I guess I just discard the Battle Screech now. If we top deck an Inspector, that allows us to flash it back anyway. And we do. Honestly, not the worst. I mean, a land would have been better, but this is about as good as you can do considering. Although we still need 3 mana for any of our team pump spells, except for Remosian Rally, which is really the way we win this. There's a Wildfire, so no Breath Weapon yet. There's an Infiltrator. No way to grow it, so I can attack with everything. We get a Plains. I could Journey now, but that doesn't make any sense. I could crack a Clue, but that doesn't really make much sense. So I'm going to play an Informant. I'm going to do it pre-combat, which might not be the smartest, but if we hit a Prismatic Strands or something, it could be relevant. That's a tough call, because Dust to Dust could be really good if these are all the lands they have, or if they get another Refurb, but these other 2 are looking pretty good. Informant gets bad the moment they get a Chrysalis or something, or Breath Weapon, although it would let us rebuild. I'm going to get rid of the Informant. Might not be the best choice ever. Might be placing too much. I don't think Dust to Dust is going to just absolutely win us the game as it did before, because it's not on turn 3. But it could still be very good here if we cut off Cleansing Wildfires, cut off green at least for a turn or 2 while the landscape fetches it. Also, if we bring them from 5 mana down to 3 and they don't have another land. 4 mana is, of course, the sweet spot for the Chrysalis, so that could be good. They just take the damage, which I generally like. Feels weird the Refurb wouldn't trade, though, because if there's a Breath Weapon or something, they're going to trade anyway. Yeah, this is annoying. So Dust to Dust would get rid of both Refurbs, which is 2 blockers, pretty relevant, but they die to a Breath Weapon, which I guess we lose to a Breath Weapon, so I can't really play around that. Journey takes out 1 Gixian, which is going to be big enough to block these. Dust to Dust takes out 2 flying blockers. I think we get rid of the Journey. If there's another Refurb, it does not matter. It's the Chrysalis. Yeah, that would have been a reason to keep the Journey too. Swing with the Refurb. Fair enough. Prismatic Strands. So I can't cast any, so I might as well just Clue token. And a Battle Screech. Well, I can't attack either. Yeah, keeping the journey would have been good there because I could have used it on the Chrysalis, still attacked with the birds at the very least. There's an infiltrator. Grow them both with the landscape. They also grow off the spawns. Attacking with a bunch of guys. I guess I got a block here. This could grow to a 5/4 plus potentially more if they have like a fanatical. It would be a 6/5, so I have to deal 5 damage to it. Although I might as well just put these all in front of the Chrysalis then, right? Which is going to be a 4/5. Alright. Which also doesn't get hit by our Prismatic Strands, so a couple reasons to do it that way. Oh, great. I blocked with 4 creatures because I was like, it probably doesn't matter. It doesn't make any difference. I could have just done the 3. But Toxin Analysis is a reason that it matters. So that was just kind of a punt to throw an extra guy on there. Kind of looks like we're going to die regardless, though, at this point. We do kill the Chrysalis, but we could have done that with just 3 of these. I didn't need to lose the Inspector. Crack a Clue, which also grows the Infiltrator, so we'd take 6 here. So we only have 1 creature left when we could have had 2. Yeah, that's pretty bad. I mean, I don't think 2 creatures here would have made a difference, but still good to know. Hold up Prismatic Strands. So the only way we survive. Maybe we then get a Battle Screech down and can survive again, and then we Guardian's Pledge. Cast down. Brutal. Attack with everybody. We'll prevent all the damage. Plains lets us Battle Screech, and we can prevent the damage again. Yep, don't attack with the familiar this time, because I can just eat it. Oh, well, I think leaving it back would have been a little smarter, but then again, not blocking with 4 guys last turn would have been smarter, and I didn't do that either. Keep our guys alive, and let's crack a clue. Now we're getting our lands. I could Dust to Dust, but that's not very relevant. I'd rather crack a clue in case I find a 1-drop that I can get our Battle Screech off of. Response, they're going to Fanatical to try to draw to wipe our birds or something. Let's just grow their Infiltrators enormously. We get a Remosian Rally. We're going to block. We're going to die. Unfortunate, missing that land drop for multiple turns definitely just killed us, and the Infiltrators seem pretty good there. Thank you so much to my $10 and up patrons or Metafy subscribers, including Howard Granger, Laars, JMW, Rafa Rodriguez, JDNPX, Ill Intent, Jason Golombiewski, Groma, Halkaz, Ricardo Pasqualato, and Cody Cowell. I really appreciate the support. Thank you so much, and I will see you all next time.